Good afternoon. This is the Black Man Who Reads Aloud, coming to you from Tampa, Florida. And of course, right now I'm reading the Florida slave narratives in part of my special project, almost concluding that, and then moving to the next state. Today we're going to be reading the Recollections of Neil Coker, given in Grandin, Florida, the Federal Writers Project. Interesting tales of the changes that have come to the section of Florida that is situated along the Putnam-Clay County lines are told by Neil Coker, old former slave who lives 2 miles south of McRae on the road, Grandin. Coker is the son of a slave mother and a half-Negro. His father, he states, was Senator John Wall, who held a seat in the Senate for 16 years. He was born in Virginia and received his family name from an old family bearing the same name in that state. He was born as nearly as he can remember, about 1857. One of Neil Coker's first reminiscences is of the road on which he still lives. During his childhood, it was known as Bellamy Road, so called because it was built some 132 years ago by a man of that name who hailed from West Florida. The Bellamy Road was at one time the main route traffic between Tallahassee and St. Augustine. Interesting enough, the road is at least 30 miles southwest of St. Augustine, where it passes through Grandin. The reason for cutting it in such a wide circle, Coker says, was because of the ferocity of the Seminoles in the swamps north and west of St. Augustine. Wagons and carriages and stages passed along this road in the days before the war between the states, Neil Coker says. In addition to these, he claims to have seen many travelers by foot and not frequently furtive escaped slaves, the latter usually undercover in an appropriate background of darkness. The road again came into considerable use during the late days of the war. It was during these days that the federal troops, both white and Negroes, passed in seemingly endless procession on their way to or from encounters. On one occasion, a former slave recounts having seen a procession of soldiers that nearly took 2 days to pass. They traveled on horse and afoot. Several amusing incidents are related by the ex-slave of the events of this period. Dozens of Negro soldiers, he said, discarded their uniforms for the gaudier clothing that had belonged to their masters in former days and could be identified as soldiers as they passed only with difficulty. Others would pause on their trip at some plantation, ascertain the name of the meanest overseer on the place, and then tie him backwards on a horse and force him to accompany them. Particularly retributive were the punishments visited upon Messieurs Mays and Prevet, generally recognized as the most vicious slave drivers of the section. Bellamy, Coker says, built the road with slave labor and as an investment, realizing much money on tolls on it for many years. A remarkable feature of the road is that despite its age and the fact that county authorities have permitted its former good grading to deteriorate to an almost impassable sand at some seasons, there is no mistaking the fact that this was once a major thoroughfare. The region that stretches from Green Grove Springs in the northeast to Grandin in the southwest, the former slave claims, was once dotted with lakes and creeks and even a river. Few of the lakes and none of the other bodies still exist, however. Among the more notable of the bodies of water was a stream. He does not remember its name, that ran about 20 miles in an easterly direction from Stark. This stream was one of the fastest that the former slave can remember having seen in Florida. Its power was utilized for the turning of a power mill, which he believes grounded corn or other grain. The falls in the river had turned the water mill, he stated, was at least 5 or 6 higher, and at one point under the falls, a man named or possibly nicknamed Yankee operated a sawmill. Neil Coker believes that this mill too derived its power from the little stream. He says that that stream has been extinct since he reached manhood. It ended in Scrub Pond beyond Grandin and Stark. Some of the names of the old lakes of the section were these: Brooklyn Lake, Magnolia Lake, Soldier Pond near Keystone, Half Moon Pond near Putnam Hall, Mixed Lake, and others. On one of them was the largest grist mill of Dr. McCrae. Neil Coker suggests that this might be the origin of the town of McCrae of the present period. To add to its natural facilities, Neil Coker points out Bradford County also had a canal. This canal ran from interior of the county to the St. Johns River near Green Grove Springs. And with Mandarin on the other side of the river still a major shipping point, the canal handled much of the commerce of Bradford and Clay counties. Neil Coker remembers vividly the Indians of the area in the days before 1870. These he claims to have been friendly but reserved fellows. He does not recall any of the Indian women. Negro slaves from the region around St. Augustine and what is now Hastings used to escape and use Bellamy's road on their way to an area around Mecompany. It was considered equivalent to freedom to reach that section with its friendly Indians and impenetrable forests and swamps. The little town of Melrose probably had the worst, most unusual name of all the strange once prevalent at the time. It was called very simply Shake Rag. Neil Coker makes no effort to explain the appellation. And that's the end of the story of Neil Coker today on the Black Man's Read Aloud Hour, the Federal Writers Project, from the period during the FDR administration, the WPA, or the Workers' Progress Administration, as I continue to read the stories of our ancestors, enslaved ancestors. Today we touched on the recollections of Neil Coker. Have a great day.